Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce to you the bowlers bowling in the first semi-final match for the singles event of the World Men's Championship. Bowling on lane 7, the 2012 World Youth All Events Gold Medalist from Australia, Sam Cooley. Bowling on lane 8, the World Bowling Tour Bahrain Leg Masters Champion for 2014 from UAE, Shakar Al Hassan. Bowlers may start with your game. Good luck.
Good afternoon from Zayed Sports City in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, as we get started with our singles medal round here at the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships. I'm Lucas Wiseman of Bowl TV. Stu Williams from Team England joining us for the medal round today. Sam Cooley of Australia against Shaker Al Hassan of UAE to start things off in our first match. And Stu, do you give the edge to anybody in either one of these guys in this match, or is it a little early to tell?
I think I'd probably give the edge to Shaka. I mean, I think most left-handers would start as the favourite on the fresh, because overall, you know, the lanes changed less for them. So over the whole time, it seemed like Sam had bowled better as the block went on. So that would be where my edge would be, and hometown advantage, of course. Yeah,
Shaker Al Hassan from the UAE, our host country here this week. A little bit of a nervous start for Sam Cooley as he misses left and goes Brooklyn, leaves the 6-pin but covers it up.
Yeah, I think in these games generally they're not massively high scoring, so if you can just get through the first couple of frames and calm the nerves down, it's always nice. Especially leaving something pretty easy to spare like a 6-pin isn't the worst thing in the world.
We're just underway. Our first semifinal. The winner of this will face the winner of the second semifinal. Al Hassani with a 7-pin.
How do you see the hometown advantage, so to speak? Do you see it as adding more pressure, or do you see it as being a... Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, he's got expectation on his side. Do you think that weighs down more on a guy, or more as he's got... Everybody wants him to win, so to speak?
I think there's always a lot of pressure on the bowlers from countries in this part of the world, because there's a lot on the line, not only for their country, but sometimes financially as well. So it's a lot. And any time players have a chance to win a medal in a gold medal in their home country in the World Championships, it's a big deal. It seems to happen frequently. It seems like whenever we have a world championship in a different country, that country seems to step up and do pretty well.
Seems like Bill Rowe's doing a pretty good job with them. He worked with the Qatari national team until recently, so he's definitely a guy in demand at the minute in this part of the world.
And it does would be a good idea to tell you that it's just one game. It's a one-game match. That's it. The winner moves on to the gold medal match. The loser will share the bronze medal. So it's very quick, and it's going to move very fast here.
And normal scoring conditions are in play.
Bowling on the 43-foot Tokyo pattern. Yesterday, scores were pretty decent, but today the scores really went high, and 3 of our 4 guys who made it into the medal round came from the squad this morning, as the scores seemed to go up quite a bit this morning.
Yeah, I think it worked out nice for Tommy that he was able to get a little bit of time to go and bowl down the other end, because that could have been a little bit awkward. The other 3 guys bowling all day and you not.
Cooley, second frame, working on a spare, blast a 9-pin, and if he makes the spare, we're all tied after 2 frames. Again, Tommy Jones from the United States going to take on Dan McClelland of Canada in the second semifinal coming up immediately following this one. That semifinal will take place on 9 and 10, so it will be on a fresh pair. And then the championship match will be on 11 and 12. Again, a fresh pair.
Pretty high scoring pair as well, 11 and 12 over the week so far. It's kind of a nice touch to be on. Makes a change. It always seems like we bowl in bowling centres where one of the pairs that's more awkward ends up by just, by chance being the TV pair. But this time we've got what seems to be the highest scoring pair as the TV pair. So hopefully for some fireworks later on.
Well, be sure to share the link to the live streaming with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. And let's get as many folks watching as we can. Watching Sam Cooley from Australia against Shaker Al Hassan of UAE in our first semifinal match of the singles medal round. No strikes yet. Pretty slow start for both players. It's very quiet in here in the bowling center.
That's
strike.
So I'm just looking at the ball return, and I think, let's just see. Yeah, I think that Shaka is using a Black Widow Legend, and Sam's he's got two different hypercells, both of which have got pretty strong service. I'd say probably around 500 on them. So Sam's trying to get the ball to slow down with using a stronger ball and a lot more surface, whereas Shaka's probably trying to look for a bit more hold using the shiny ball.
Well, let's see if Shaka can match the strike, and he does. So, like you said, Stu, maybe a couple of frames to get settled in, and maybe now we'll get up to our normal scoring pace here. We'll see what happens. But we're all tied up through 3 frames. It's only a one-game match, so going to move along pretty quickly here in the semifinals.
I like this where they're playing the one game at a time. I think it allows everybody to have all the focus on the one game rather than it being, darting between the two all the time.
Yeah, I agree. We were able to Pekka Korpi, the tournament director, was able to do that because we had a little extra time today. They'll do that for the singles and the doubles, but then in the trios and the team, they'll bowl simultaneously. There's a double, our first double of the match.
Did that just go Brooklyn? I think that was a Brooklyn.
Well, regardless if it was a Brooklyn or a pocket strike, it counts just as well, and he's up by 10 now.
Lucas giving me the league bowler adage of they all look the same up there.
It's exactly right.
They don't quite feel the same.
I'm sure not. But regardless, a 10-pin lead for Shocker here. But Cooley can match it with another strike. And yeah, it did go Brooklyn, as we are able to see the delayed feed here. A little bit of early pressure here on
That's
Cooley.
Go.
And he leaves the 10. 7 went down a little late.
For the guys watching at home, that's a little bit of the issues you run into when you put that much surface on a ball. Sam's pretty high rev rate and decent speed, but even then he got that one a little bit too far right, and you saw how laboured it was on the way back because it used up all of its energy, and that's where you've got to decide which miss is the worst one. Are you going to miss left more, or are you going to miss right more? And
ball just didn't have enough oomph left on when it got
he just
to the
got
pocket.
it right, but he controlled the pocket, and for him, the last 3 frames he's hit the pocket. Shaka's got one good shot, and the Brooklyn. So 10 pins it's annoying, but it's not really critical right now, as long as Sam can throw a good shot now and get back on it.
It'll become critical if Shocker can start building on it and throwing a couple of more strikes to build that lead. But Sam can throw a strike here, and he's still in good shape.
Yeah, I mean,
certainly it's very close still.
If I'm in Sam's mentality, I think to myself, well, if I strike here, I'm in the position where I can strike out, and if he misses once, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
So, early on.
One game, only through 4 frames. Sam Cooley trailing by 10. Working on a spare.
That was a very nice shot. I think if I was Bo Burton, I'd describe his approach as deliberate. It's very, very slow to get going, isn't he? And then he has 2 or 3 really quick feet at the end.
Catches up pretty quick.
He's actually a lot more. His body moves a lot less than it did 1 or 2 years ago. He had a lot of moving parts. I think he's worked a lot on his game to try and be more solid and stable at the foul line.
Al Hassan now looking for 3 strikes in a row, a chance to take a 20-pin lead with a strike here in the 5th. Snaps out the 6-pin from behind, and you can definitely tell that the crowd is in his favor here in his home country.
Yeah, I think it's a nice touch. Belmo and the Aussie players have actually come down and they're just at the back of the players area, so at least Sam knows that he's got some support pretty close, because they can get drowned out pretty easily by the rest of the crowd.
And this match being broadcast live on local television here in Abu Dhabi as well. That's why we have a little bit of a kind of an awkward angle on the pins, but it'll get better as we move along throughout the medal round. So Al Hassan up by 20. He can go up by 30 with another strike right here. Looking for 4 in a row. He's got it.
Oh. So he's they're the days you really like, where he's had 2 good shots and strung them together with one really bad shot and one, good break. That's nice to get to a 4-bagger.
Yeah. And just like that, he pushes the lead to 30, and Sam can still cut it back to 20 with a strike here.
Sam really needs a double here. If he isn't to strike on this shot, he's his max score goes down to 239, and Shaka's already at 229.
So a big shot here halfway through this match for Sam Cooley of Australia. Sam gets it a little wide, and it carries the light hit for the strike.
That's the one that you're begging not to hit the pocket.
You don't want it to go hit the pocket.
Hit light, and everything's good. In here, the light hit seems to carry pretty consistently, actually.
Well, Sam cuts it to 20 now with 4 frames to go. Both players working on at least a double.
This is a huge shot right now. I think if he strikes here, he puts quite a bit of pressure on Shaka. The slightly unfortunate thing for Sam is his better lane is the one he's not going to finish on. But we'll see. A lot of game to go, 4 frames.
Sam Cooley down by 20, can cut it to 10 with a strike right here. Messenger goes in front of the 10. A tough break there.
If you looked at his body language, I think at the foul line he knew that one wasn't quite what he wanted. He was hoping rather than expecting on that one.
It's always got to be a bit of heartbreak when that Messenger goes in front of the 10, though. You're just hoping that it's gonna get there.
I mean, right this week so far, it seems pretty consistent that when you hit the ball to go too long and you hit light like that, the Messengers. Because if we had a camera in the pin, I bet that Messenger was at least a foot in front of that pin. It wasn't really that close. So the guys with a bit more power have kind of had their heart broken so many times that they don't even expect it to hit now.
Well, now a huge opportunity for Shaka to really take control of this match if he throws a couple of more strikes here in the 7th and the 8th.
Yep.
Up by 21. Great shot.
There we go.
Looking very solid is the left-hander at this point. That is his 5th consecutive strike. And he is now up by 31 pins with 3 frames to go.
And in his mentality now, he's thinking, strike this shot, get this game done. Get to the 240 pace, realize you only need the 2 spares to finish, and you're all good. The worst thing that can happen now is to either open or to sort of 8 spare or something like that, and then suddenly you give them a little bit of the impetus back.
But a strike here, and Shakir Al Hassan will go up by 41. Just a couple of frames to go. Looking for a 6th consecutive strike. He didn't like it, and he leaves the baby split.
Yeah, exactly what we were saying. It's the
Not
double
only
bad.
is it 8, it's a kind of a tough 8 to pick up the baby split here.
Yeah, he could have done with a good shot there. Even 9 spare would have been, put a lot of pressure on Cooley.
Well, with the spare, Shakir up by 29.
Lefties are usually pretty good at this spare.
Cleans up the mess. So the max score for Sam Cooley is 238. Shakir can get to 257. So Shakir will have a chance to shut him out no matter what happens here. Are we keeping you awake, Stu?
A little bit, yeah. I'm missing my afternoon siesta.
So 8th frame, both players now working on spares. As things have slowed down a bit. Got that one way right. That was a mess right there.
And that would be that.
And that ball didn't have any chance. It was just
done.
pitched way right, and
It wouldn't have mattered whether it was shiny, dull. That
Yeah.
one wasn't coming back.
leaves the big split 4-8-10. Makeable, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't know if that's really going to matter.
Realistically, I think this match is
Down by 32, even if he makes it. It's going to give it a run here, and it's an open frame. And sure looks like Shakir Al-Hassan just had some of the pressure taken off him for the last couple of frames here.
It's always a shame when you see the guy who, just came off a good set, and then they come to this one game and they just can't quite find, what they need.
Now the max score has dropped to 214 for Sam Cooley.
Who was the high seed in this? Was it Shaka or Sam?
In this match,
Yeah.
it was Sam.
Wow,
Sam
that's
was 6
very
pins ahead of
strange.
him.
So Sam chose to finish the match, and he chose to, start the match rather. So he'd have the last ball, and the lane he picked to finish on, he's had terrible ball reaction almost the entire time. Seems like a strange choice now, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because usually you would find most people would want to finish the match first, almost at the detriment of the lanes. So it's amazing what that 10 minutes of practice can do to your head. Make you think one thing, and then 3 shots in, you think something completely different.
Well, just a couple of frames to go here for Shakir. He's looking to put this thing away. There's a strike.
Good shot.
And Shakir Al-Hassan is going to advance into the gold medal match against either Tommy Jones or Dan McClellan. That semifinal coming up immediately following this one. They'll get 10 minutes of practice, and then they'll get started with the second semifinal. There's a double. Shakir's going to bowl at least in the 240s here.
So just as a recap of the first couple of days of singles, which teams have impressed you the most, or surprised you the most from what you've seen so far?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, obviously
Sweden have had a pretty solid start in singles overall.
Sweden pretty good. Korea had a couple of bowlers who bowled well, but I think that we kind of expected that.
Well, they had Choi as well. He was giving it a run the last day.
It's been pretty spread out. A lot of countries in the singles really had some guys up there.
USA haven't been quite as dominant as normal to start with.
But singles is hard to, especially hard to get in the top 4 in the singles.
No, I don't necessarily mean in the top 4, but I just mean like a steady score for everybody.
Sure.
I mean, Mike and Bill and Marshall seemed to struggle a little bit. Mike was just looked like he was pushing water uphill for a while last night. Like 210, 215. He didn't really seem to get any big games going.
Well, it seemed like yesterday the transition time in the game in games 4 and 5 really tricked a lot of people, and today that didn't happen as much. We had that 4th and 5th game were pretty steady with the first 3 games, and that's why we had such high scores, I think, today.
Yeah, me and Don were pretty fortunate in that regard because we just went from that way, from the top end straight down this way, like the whole block. We just moved one direction. We never had to make the turn. I think moving from the high end back down to the low end has been tricky for a lot of people.
255 for Shakir Al-Hassan.
You'd take that in a medal match, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 255 is a solid score.
Yeah.
He had a couple of shaky shots early on, but since then, pretty solid. And he's going to easily win this match and move into the gold medal match coming up in just a little bit.
Twinsies. Wow. Me and Lucas are trying to decide who's most offended by that.
I think you and I are figuring out which one's going to wring Nat's neck first. Sam Cooley, a great performance in the 6 games of the singles, 14-28. A very consistent performance for him in the qualifying. 237, 247, 229, 234, 225, 256. And
very nice block. Good start for the week as well.
Yep.
Nice to get a medal and pretty good score for all events. And
exactly. Puts him in good position for all events, for Masters and all that stuff. Some good momentum going into the next few events. But going to come up short here. Going to share a bronze medal in the singles as Australia.
And it can't feel too bad to bowl doubles with the best bowler in the world either.
I imagine he's going to be lined up with Jason Belmonte, huh?
Yeah, I would think so.
Well, 255, 212 final score. We're going to step away here and get set up for our second semifinal, but we'll be back in a little bit here live on Bowl TV.
Immediately follow, which also means that Cooley is the bronze medalist.
Thank you.
No problem.
Is Megan sending you links to the daily videos?
No.
Send her an email reminding her, please.
Later.
Not yet.
I was just looking, it might be an outburst, or it could be a track ball. I think the track 912, I think.
No, it's the new one. It's a new number system.
I forgot they went from the numbers to that one. This is the
I was pretty sure it was an LX. I'm trying to think whether the high numbers were 10 and 16.
the middle ones are 10. Yeah.
He's the only person I've seen.
Mika throws a little, not when it leaves the country. Only at home when the pace is, well, in theory, when the pace used to go down the shore. If he throws that ball, I will tackle him. The game breaker's option 3. It doesn't really have enough surface for game 1 or 2. Fair job of carving this one up in a short time. Although if he was going to throw that ball, what is that thing? 20 something Mason intermediate, 5 or so. You definitely need the 3 hooks so you can actually get around it. Trying to roll it, okay. Huh? Oh, it's 2810, 2810, 910 on the right lane, the last 3 shots on the gap. Yeah, definitely pick the finish.
I can understand doing it that way if you wanted to finish first and then throw the gamble. But I don't understand to be the gamble to throw the ball to win and then leave that way. I was like, that's bullshit.
The difference between ballsy and stupidity is on the red green stupidity, I don't know.
That was one of the funniest things I've ever said.
big balls.
It's only big balls if you actually win. Then it's just up. Yeah.
To be honest, though, it was shocking. Right? So,
He only shot 2 teams. Yeah, he only shot 2 teams. That could have been much closer match.
well, the thing was, Cooley had the 9 pin, and then so he would have had a double, and then Shaq had got the strike, and then booked the double 7.
Took the 6, yeah. 30 pin swing.
They wanted to win the artistic league as well. Oh, off flag looks so nice on you.
Here are the bowlers bowling in the second semi-final match for the singles event of the World Men's Championship. Bowling on lane 7. Bowling on lane 9. The PAPCON Masters Champion in 2011, which was held in Guadalajara, Mexico. From Canada, Dan McLeland. Bowling on lane 10, the World Men's Championship Team Gold Medalist for 2008 and 2010. From USA, Tommy Jones. Bowlers, you may start with your game. Good luck.
All right, welcome back. Ready to get started with our second semifinal. Dan McClellan from Canada against Tommy Jones of the United States, and this should be a pretty solid matchup here between these two guys. The number 1 seed Tommy Jones against the number 4 seed Dan McClellan. We watched a little bit in practice. I'm Lucas Wiseman, by the way, of Bull TV, along with Stu Williams of England. Stu, who do you give the edge to here early on?
I think Dan probably. He's they carved the lane up pretty well playing to the right, and I think Dan feels a little bit more comfortable keeping his angles straight like that through the front than Tommy does. But, you know, you can never count out Tommy Jones.
So 9 pin to start for Dan McClellan. The winner of this match will move on to the gold medal match to take on the UAE's Shakir El Hassan.
I think this match is an ultimate flip of the coin match, to be honest, Lucas. Now, if you haven't seen what they did, they broke the lane down a lot further right than, say, Sam was playing. And they both, you know, they played the little game of jumping over each other a little bit, but it looks like they're both in a pretty good spot, and it's just going to be whoever executes the best is probably going to win. I don't think there's any trick to this. I think it's just whoever bowls the best is probably going to win.
And both these guys are professional bowlers with a lot of experience. Tommy Jones with
wow.
not very, it's not exactly how you want to see your ball go through the pins right there, is it? He leaves
That
the 8
was
pin.
weird.
That was a very strange shot.
Because, I mean, he absolutely destroyed the 10 with the 6. Yep, Tommy was thrilled about that one.
Probably not what you want to see on your first shot in a one-game match.
No. But it was the first frame, and we're probably going to be level, so looks like Tommy's using the Badass from Hammer, and Dan's using the LX16 from Track. So just to keep everybody up to date at home if they're interested.
And please get on Twitter or Facebook and post the link to the live streaming, bowl.com/bowltv. As we had somebody correctly point out in the chat, both players with spares in the first frame. It's a good prediction. We saw that in our first match as well.
Just a quick question, just a quick response there to Keith. No, I actually picked Dan to win. I just said you couldn't count Tommy Jones out.
There's Tommy Jones. That's a little bit better as he sends the messenger across to take out the 10 for the strike.
I think he might have been a little what you guys call salty if that messenger had gone in front.
For sure. And again, one-game match here in this second semifinal. And the winner will move on to bowl for the gold medal against Shakar Al Hassan of the United Arab Emirates. And by the way, we are live in the UAE, Abu Dhabi, about an hour away from Dubai, which is probably the city that most people are familiar with in this country. But Abu Dhabi, a fine city, a lot of very interesting sights here, including the Grand Mosque and some beaches here, and overall a very nice city.
A very nice bowling centre as well.
And a fantastic bowling center, exactly.
Mind-blowing that this is 15 years old.
It feels more like a convention center with the high ceilings and the spectator seating. It's much different than your traditional bowling center that you may bowl your league in at home. Dan McClellan looking for a double.
And it's 40 straight across as well. No pillars, no nothing. Just 40 Brunswick Pro Amber Lane in a row. And there's a lot of space for the bowlers as well in the area down, like for the bags and stuff. It's very well laid out. Very nice place.
Yeah, whoever designed this bowling center did a very nice job.
Mm-hmm. And they did the thing that is always really good. They've got the place where you can watch higher than the lanes.
Correct. Yep.
So it's much easier for people to see as well. That's one of the things a lot of places do wrong. They have the lanes above where people can stand.
Tommy Jones looking to even the match up here, and he leaves a 4-9 split.
Looked like Tommy made a small adjustment off the last shot and just tried to get it to straighten up a little bit, and it came out the back of the pan a little harder than he anticipated.
A little bit of an overcorrection maybe after the...
That's a little bit what I was saying about Dan and keeping the angles in front of him, because Dan's roll is much more end over end than Tommy's is. It's much easier for Dan to stay closer to the pocket on this, the way they've broken them down.
And Tommy Jones putting a piece of tape in the ball. He misses this. He falls behind by a pretty good clip early on here after just 3 frames.
A lot of people have a lot of different views on how you should break the lanes down, you know, what's good, what's bad. And I actually think that Tommy played a little bit into Dan's hands by breaking them down in the same spot to make them easier. I don't think that was necessarily Tommy's advantage.
Got a chance, just barely misses it to the left. Surprised the wind from the ball didn't knock over that 4-pin. He threw that pretty hard.
Yeah,
and it's an open frame.
And it whiffed straight past it, didn't it?
Wow. If he'd have just caught a piece of it, it would have probably made it, but
yeah.
Open frame.
I'll sit on the fence about that one yesterday. I saw Dom put it straight in front of it.
Did you?
Yeah. He wasn't having the best day, and that certainly didn't
better.
help anything.
Well, it's an early 24-pin deficit already for Tommy Jones.
That looks good.
A little bit better shot. Still doesn't look very happy, and I wouldn't be either, probably.
I guess lane 10 doesn't like him very much.
Dan McClellan with a chance of a couple of strikes here, 4th and the 5th, to really take complete control of this match. Do appreciate you joining us here on Bowl TV, our live coverage of the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships. Second semifinal in the singles event. That one's a bit wide, but carries the light hit for the strike. 3 in a row for Dan McClellan, and the lead continues to grow. Up to a 34-pin lead now for Dan McClellan after 4 frames. We hope you'll join us throughout the week here on Bowl TV, live coverage of the World Men's Championships all the way through until December 14th, which is the last day of the tournament, Masters competition. We'll be on the air for every squad and every medal round here on Bowl TV. McClellan looking to increase the margin.
Good shot. I thought that one was going to be a little bit inside then, but like I say, his roll's so much more stable that it just reads it and stops.
So now a 44-pin lead for Dan McClellan.
Yeah. I would say surfaces-wise, they're probably using somewhere 1,000 or 2,000. Nothing ridiculously dull. Just trying to make it start up but not really want to go sideways.
So Tommy Jones, if he wants to mount a comeback, it starts right here. He's got to start stringing strikes. Looked like he got a little bit more on that one, and
Oh,
wraps
wow.
the
That
10.
was a good shot.
You hate to say that a match feels like it's over after 5 frames, but
But he's...
that's the way it feels.
Yeah, especially with how well Dan's been bowling recently as well.
And the best that Tommy Jones can shoot now is 236. And Dan McClellan looks like he may be heading in the direction of
It's a title
well
match.
north of that.
I thought that was just quite interesting just then, and this is a big credit to Rod. Tommy, after he struck, went back and actually spoke to Chris Barnes a little bit, and it's quite a credit to Rod that he doesn't get upset about that with what the players, feel comfortable with. He's very flexible with how they, want to feel, and who, because it can be that he's just asking him, small questions about how he sees that. And it's very interesting to see a guy in the position that he's in. He's not. He doesn't use his ego. Doesn't let his ego get in the way or anything. He just wants to know what's best for the guys.
Yeah,
Very
when
good.
you've got a team with guys who are good friends, who are familiar with each other, a lot of experience, you just kind of use the resources you have to try to do the best you can. And I think Rod understands that.
But like I say, it'd be very easy for him to not be like that,
Absolutely,
though. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. It's certainly a credit to him that he's like that.
Well, Dan's looking to pretty much put this thing away here in the next couple of frames with some more strikes.
Sharp.
Snaps out that 10, 5 in a row.
I hate to say it, but it looks like I'm Nostradamus right now.
You don't hate to say it.
No, I don't. You're right.
You're not fooling us.
I feel almost like a weather person. Know exactly what's coming. So that means I'm probably going to get the final wrong.
54-pin lead for Dan McCollum with 4 frames to go. Title match coming up next. Shakir Al Hassan of the UAE waiting to take on the winner of this match, which looks like it might be Dan McClelland at this rate, but you never know.
I think I know now.
I think it's getting pretty set. 64-pin lead now for Dan, and he has looked spectacular here in this semifinal.
What's the phrase? Loosey-goosey? His arm don't look
Yep.
like it's got any grab in it right now, does it? He's just letting that ball go. And that's what I was saying about with the way Tommy broke them down. He broke them down into Dan's strength that he hoped he was going to take advantage of. I almost feel like he would have been better to try and break it down a little bit further in to force Dan off that spot. But hindsight 2020, of course.
Well, Tommy Jones bowled great in the qualifying. There's a double.
And realistically, we're only talking about one shot.
Yeah.
I mean, that 4-9, that wasn't a very good shot, which he then moved off for the ring 10. But he went stone 8 the first shot, strike, made a little move off it, didn't throw as good as he could, 4-9, struck, ring 10, and now he's got a double. Well, if we just give him a strike in the third frame, this match should be
It's very close.
really
Yeah, within a mark.
going. And that's a little bit how these matches are a little bit cruel sometimes.
Yeah, it is just a one-game match. Tommy Jones, 8th frame, working on a double. Strikes again. Looks comfortable finally, but in a one-game match.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's amazing how these matches can be so... Some of the matches feel like they're so long, and some of the matches feel like they're so short, and it's the same 10 frames they bowl.
Yeah, Dan McCline going at a 249 pace. Tommy Jones can only shoot 236. So if Dan just kind of stays clean here.
He can actually, yeah. As long as he avoids a 5 open or something,
Yep.
he's probably going to be in okay shape as well. That's close again.
Comes up a little light, leaves the 2. I guess he's probably pretty thankful he didn't have an 8 and a 10 with it, but 2-pin. Not that bad of a shot at this stage. He'll take
No.
that.
It's an easy one of the single pins to spare as well. In
Yeah.
the middle of the lane.
Exactly. So Dan's looking to just kind of cruise through here in these last couple of frames and move on to the bowl for the title.
Yeah, 2-8-10 there would have made him think about it a little
Yeah.
bit, I think. Because he'd have, of course, been on it. He'd have actually needed a double then.
basically just looking to get a mark here in the 9th frame.
A strike would be very good here,
No, he's for sure.
because then of course the count wouldn't kill him. Even an open in the 10th frame, as long as he got 9, would be enough.
There's a strike.
Yeah. So now he needs 9 off 2 balls, doesn't he, to stay okay? Because he'd be a 7. He'd be a 37. So.
He'd be at 37, and Tommy's max score is 236.
Yeah.
So
that was actually a.
you know, I mean, if Tommy strikes out here 9th and 10th, there is a small amount of pressure on.
But there was
Dan.
There was a lot more pressure on him if he
Exactly
hadn't
right.
have got the strike.
Exactly right. But this match is not over yet. It's close, but it's not over yet. So let's see what Tommy Jones says. Must strike situation right here.
That's close.
No strike, so he's hanging in there. Tommy
Now-
Jones needs all 3 in the 10th, really.
Is he now wondering whether it was a bit unfortunate he didn't get one of those in the 4-9?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, obviously, in that position, you
Hindsight's
have to go
20/20.
for it.
Exactly, you've got to go for it.
But
that's 2 pins, 2 sticks right there that would have made.
and this would make this very interesting.
Not that we expect
to
Dan
speak.
McClellan to do anything but throw a strike or
But to be
make a
fair,
spare
he
of the
did
10th,
just
but
almost
he did.
open
That is
on
true.
that lane the last shot. So
he left a 2-pin. But it will be a moot point if Tommy Jones doesn't strike out here in the 10th frame.
that's got to go.
Oh, he gets it.
Now he's getting the breaks.
Yep. Never fails, right? Tommy Jones again, max score 236. Dan McClellan would just need 9 pins on 2 shots to beat that. Championship match coming up next. Shakar Al Hassan, the host country UAE, standing by to bowl for the title immediately following this semifinal. Gotta have it. Tommy gets it. So Tommy's delivered here towards the end to try to put a little pressure on Dan. And count is pretty significant on this last shot, right, Stu?
Yeah, I mean, if he was to, if he got 9, then he'd be in a roll-off. If the good thing happened to him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be thinking to myself, try, you want 10, but get at least 9, because then if he has an 8, if he can get an 8 out in there somehow,
Yeah.
6-2 or whatever, or a 5-3, at least you're in the roll-off. But yeah, strike here would be nice for him.
All right, Tommy Jones punches out, throws the last 7 for 236, and now it's up for Dan McClellan to perform here in the final frame.
That strike's looking more and more huge for down in the 9th frame now.
Especially in terms of count, for sure. And basically, Dan needs
9.
9.
9 on 2 balls.
If he gets 9 on this ball, it's over. Wastes no time. Gets up there. Fires it in. There's a strike, and that's a winner. Dan McClellan get a bowl for the gold medal. Coming up in just a couple of minutes here. Dan bowled a really, really nice game.
So did Tommy, really. I mean, that was a pretty good game for 236 when you look back on it. That's why it's so difficult to win these medals now. It's funny. It's easier and harder at the same time, because being the first one in a whole block is obviously extremely difficult. But I mean, Tommy bowled nearly the perfect tournament. He led, and then he bowled 236 with basically one bad shot. And he's got bronze medal.
Yep.
Yeah, it's.
Dan McClellan's going to take the win here in the semifinal. Last shot. And strikes for 269 to 236. A great high-scoring match here in semifinal number 2. Our gold medal match coming up in just a couple of minutes. It's going to be Dan McClellan of Canada against Shakar Al Hassan of the UAE for the title. Tommy Jones of USA and Sam Cooley of Australia will share the bronze medal. So coming up in just a couple of minutes, our gold medal match, and we'll be back after we get everything set up and ready to go.
Rock this like a little 4 GB or 8 GB good enough, or I don't know how big it is.
I'll give you one for security.
You know,
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final match for the singles event of the World Men's Championship here in Abu Dhabi. This is the gold medal match between the two bowlers. Both the first one bowling on lane 11 from Canada, Dan McClellan. bowling on lane 12 from the United Arab Emirates, Shakar Al Hassan. This is a one-game final. Bowlers will start with their game.
All right, welcome back to our gold medal match here in the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships. One-game match for the gold medal. It's going to be Canada's Dan McClelland against UAE's Shakar Al Hassan for the title. So Canada versus UAE in our gold medal match. One game to determine the winner. I'm Lucas Wiseman of Bold TV. Stuart Williams of England is here with us as well. And Stu, I ask you at the start of every match, does anybody have the edge here?
Dan McClelland. Dan seems to have a pretty good picture of what he wants to do on the lane, more so than pretty much any player I've seen this week. So I think that's going to play obviously to his advantage, and I don't see anything changing in this match. But you can never stay away from those damn lefties, can you?
And it's hard to keep down the home country favorite. Shakar is clearly the favorite of the fans here. And look at this. The 7 goes late and ignites the crowd here in Khalifa International Bowling Center.
Canada are quite well represented in this match. They've got 1 bowler and 2 coaches. For some little country in the Commonwealth, they're doing quite well, aren't they?
I'm not touching that.
Yes,
what did I tell you before we started? Don't make anybody mad.
Yes, that is me joking.
So both players start with a strike here in our gold medal match. Obviously, would be a massive story here in the UAE if Shakar could pull out the victory. Already a big story that he's advanced this far. Yeah.
See, that's 100% where Dan's got it. Shakar got the first one out, and it didn't really get back, and he just about got the 7 out. So on this one, he did kind of what Tommy did in the last match. He just corrected up a little bit straight, and bang, out the back of the pattern it goes.
So it looks like an open frame here for Shakar in the second. I guess if you're going to have an open early on, it's probably the place to do it, but you don't want to fall too far behind. And Dan McClelland, he's going to try to put his foot on the accelerator and pull away here in these next couple of frames to build a lead if he can, just like he did against Tommy Jones.
And like I say, he's really seeing the lane clearly for what he wants. And when you see a professional bowler and they have that feeling, it's very difficult to beat them if you don't have that same clear picture or your own clear picture about what you're going to do.
That one's a little bit right and leaves the 2-8-10. It's about the exact opposite of what Dan wanted to see. And he almost did that in the last match, but
yeah,
this time he pitches it right and it didn't come back, and 2-8-10 split, and we could be tied up after 2 frames.
Maybe it's not as clear as I thought. He hadn't finished shading the edges of his picture, obviously. Oh,
well,
wow,
he only gets 1.
That wasn't very clever.
Loses a couple of pins and count right there.
He threw that kind of strange as well.
He did.
Throw a regular shot. I don't really know what he was trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Because
it seems like in that situation you just want to get the 2 pins.
100%.
And he ends up giving away a couple of pins and count there and now trails by 2.
Well, just to put in perspective, right, regardless of the timing, on a strike, you'd have to spare that 1 in 5 for it to be worthwhile going at it.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen with that split.
I mean, that's my view on it anyway. Take the 2, move on.
Well, now Dan trailing by a couple of sticks.
Ooh,
Comes up
boy.
light again.
That ball's not reading it like I expected it to. It does look like he's getting his hand a little bit more to the side of it as well. The last match he was really underneath the ball and letting it roll, getting it rolling straight away. Now it looks like he's trying to help it round the corner a little bit. I don't know whether that's a little bit of nerves, which would be perfectly understandable in this situation.
He looks a bit out of sorts early on.
He doesn't look like... He certainly doesn't look like he looked in the match against Tommy, does he?
No,
you know what I mean?
he does not.
His whole body language looks a little bit different. But
still early here, and he's only down by 2, so we'll see how things settle in here.
exactly. And it doesn't look like Shakar's got like the daddy look either. So
Yeah. We'll see what he does here
all that talk of this being a good pair sounds like. It's got a chance.
Yeah, pretty good hit. And you can probably tell from our crowd mic that there is no doubt who the crowd is favoring here.
Yeah, the bleacher behind us is completely filled up now.
Yeah, it's filled in nicely. It looked like we weren't going to have hardly anybody here to watch the finals, but a lot of
Yeah.
people have filled in to watch the finals, and it's right now going in the UAE's favor by just a couple of pins. So let's see if Shocker can get the first double of the gold medal match.
Oh, that's got to go.
Light hit doesn't carry. 10 pin stays. Feels like a very strange start to our gold medal match. Doesn't look like either player is comfortable
Not
or
at all.
confident.
And when you watched Shaka, Dan, and Tommy Bowl, just those games there. Oh,
Trouble.
wow, he's missed it.
Yep. We could tell right off his hand that he had pitched it to the right, and he misses the easy spare. That makes things difficult. He can't afford to give away pins in these one-game matches, and he just gave away a bunch of pins right there.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, I think he's been having a few mental issues with these things recently. I think at the Asian Games he struggled a couple of times to close the deal. So, looks like Dan just changed ball. I believe he just went to another one of the same ball, but it looked like the surface was a little bit fresher. So,
Well, there is a lot of pressure on Shaker to win this match here in his home country. Much more so, I would say the pressure is higher on Shaker than it is on Dan in this match. And right now,
yeah.
Dan up by 10 with that open by Shaker.
although I think Dan puts a lot of pressure on himself. You know, because he really wants to do well, and so.
Anytime you're representing your country, there's pressure because you want to win. Got a handful of that one and gets the double. And just like that, Dan McClellan has taken a 20-pin lead.
I think that 9 miss really loosened Dan up
Yep.
as well. Like, he changed ball to something that would pick up a bit more, and then Shako missed the spare, and he suddenly felt a little bit more looser.
Well, Shaker's got to get something going here. Does not want this thing to fall out of his reach.
Oh boy.
Oh my, lucky to break up the split.
It's quite easy for us to see right here, isn't it? Because we're dead behind the pair. Straight off their hands. It's much easier. Whereas the other matches, when you're on the side looking across, it's a little bit more of a guess. Right now we can see the lines really easily.
Well, regardless of how this finishes up for Shaker, it is the highest finish in any event in the World Championships for the UAE. They had previously 3 bronze medals in World Championship competition, but they had never had a silver or a gold. So regardless, this will be the best performance for the UAE in the World Championships, but I'm sure that Shaker would prefer that it finish on a little bit more positive note.
Mm-hmm.
And halfway through, things not going in his favor, down by 20.
Oh boy.
Well, take it.
Good things happen when he Brooklyn last time.
That's
so.
right. It did set him into a bit of a string of strikes. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the gold medal match here in the singles event at the 2014 World Bowling Men's Championships, live from Khalifa International Bowling Center at Zayed Sports City in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Lucas Wiseman along with Stu Williams here for our gold medal match. Dan McClellan looking for 3 strikes in a row and
Great shot.
buries it and pushes the lead up to 30 now with 4 frames to go.
A strike here and we'll be starting to Starting to think we might be hearing "Oh Canada."
Hearing Stu sing. Mark that down as a list of things I did not need to hear today.
Oh, come on. That's your American bias.
Dan
That's got to go.
looking for
Oh,
a little
this is
love
over.
there and gets it, and that is 4 in a row, and the lead is now 40.
Wow, if that one comes back, this might go down as one of the greatest ball changes in World Championship history. Because that one, with the other ball he was using at the start of the game, had no chance of hitting the headpin.
Well, he committed to the move early, and it seems to have paid off so far.
Fair play to him. It was a great ball change by the looks of it.
Well, Shocker pretty much needs to strike out at this point to have any chance.
Oh, push.
It's a good shot.
Got it.
Messenger. Oh, it's coming. Yep. You could tell it was going to fall forward. Caught just enough of it to push it backwards that the momentum carried it forward, and he got it.
There's Lucas Wiseman Physics 101. It hit the front of it, so it was bound to fall forward.
That's exactly right. It leaned enough that it had to fall the other way. You can tell when you watch enough bowling sitting here. It's a big carry. That's a big hit though for him.
It was huge, yeah.
That pulls him back to within 30, and he can pull to within 20 with a strike here. Desperately needs it.
Oh.
He got it.
He got it.
And he's starting to light up the crowd a little bit here. And he's pulled to within 20.
Yep. I still like Dan's chances.
Sure seems like Dan is in the driver's seat at this point. If he strikes again, he'll go back up by 30 with 2 frames
It
left.
seemed like a lot of work Shaq had to put in then to get that double.
Yep. But it was critical. It kept him in it.
100%. It was good. Kept it interesting, that's for sure.
And we like interesting, that's for sure. And let's see what Dan does here.
Shot.
Yep, buries another one for 5 in a row.
So this shot now, if he gets this one, he'd only need a spare in the 10th frame for the win. So last time when he needed a shot in the 9th frame, he came up big. So let's see if this one's any different. I think you'll see a pretty big reaction from Dan if he gets the 10 here. Oh boy, that's left.
Oh, but he gets it to strike. 6 in a row now.
I think I need to reevaluate how I play this pattern. Because Dan showed me that I'm doing the wrong thing completely. Wow, that was... I thought for sure that was left off his hand, and 10 back. Oh.
Shocker trying to stay in it here. He does.
Basically, he needs 2 more strikes and 8 pins. Strike 8 he needs to make it interesting.
All right, so the 10th frame here, and Shakir Al Hassan needs to step up. Great shot. Might be the best shot he's thrown so far.
I bet he wish he could have that single pin back.
Yeah, if he'd have made that, it'd be a little bit different of a match.
Yeah, he'd have 10 more. Dan would need a hit in the 10th. But get this one.
Yeah, Max scored 226 for Shakir Al Hassan. Dan McClellan can still shoot 256, but he can make Dan do a little bit of work in the 10th frame here, right? Big shot. Oh, and he leaves the 6-8.
That wasn't a very nice break. No.
That was not. It was not that bad of a shot. And it looks like Dan McClelland is going to take this thing.
Yep, Dan McClelland has won. Congratulations to Dan, the first world champion of the 2014 Men's World Championships.
What a great performance by Shakir Al Hassan here in his home country, the UAE. Best finish by a player from the UAE in World Championships history. Taking the silver medal. So victory lap time for Dan McClelland. Another strike. Dan McClelland wins the gold medal here at the World Championships in the singles event. What a performance in the semifinal and the final for the Canadian, as he will bring home the first gold medal from Abu Dhabi. Another shot in the pocket, another strike. Waves to the crowd. The crowd really wanted to see a UAE victory here today, but not to be. Dan McClelland with a very strong performance after that ball change. Yeah, just a heck of a ball change in that fourth frame that he has struck ever since. And he's going to ask him to clap. Kind of a tradition that's become in bowling.
Start with the Weber Cup.
There we go. Dan McClelland has won the gold for Canada in the singles event. So congratulations, Dan McClelland, as Canada strikes gold first here in Abu Dhabi at this year's World Bowling Men's Championships. We head into the doubles event starting tomorrow. 3 squads of doubles qualifying. On Monday, Tuesday, we'll have our final squad of qualifying and our medal round. You see Dan getting the congratulations all around as Dan McClelland, our first gold medalist of these championships.
Canadians everywhere. Craig Woodhouse, another coach in the players area, congratulating Dan.
256 to 212, your final score. Dan McClelland wins the gold. Well, thanks for joining us, Stu. Thanks for sitting in with us today.
You're welcome. Hopefully I don't see you again this week.
If you don't see us, that means that you're on the shows.
Or England is.
Or England is. And we would like to wish you luck as you move along here throughout the rest of the tournament. And we will be back with you tomorrow morning here live on Bowl TV with the doubles event. So that's it for now from Abu Dhabi. We will see you back here tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.
Hello.